Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to pull back the blueprints of the human mind to figure out exactly what an attitude actually is. We throw the word attitude around a lot in our daily lives, right? We tell people they need to adjust their attitude, or we talk about someone having a really great attitude. But from a purely psychological standpoint, what's literally happening inside your brain when you suddenly decide you absolutely love a new trend, or conversely, you instantly dislike a new coworker? What's going on behind the scenes when a casual opinion hardens into this absolute unbreakable certainty? Well, today we're going to treat the human mind like a massive construction site so we can figure out exactly how these mental frameworks are built from the ground up.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We'll start by defining human attitudes. Then we'll break down their three core building blocks and see how they're actually formed. After that, we'll explore the underlying function they serve, and finally, we'll uncover the cognitive dissonance trap.
All right, Section 1, Defining Human Attitudes. What exactly are they?
Look, the absolute most crucial thing to grab right off the bat is that an attitude is not just some fleeting mood. You might wake up feeling super grumpy because you had a terrible night's sleep, or maybe you get this sudden burst of joy because your favorite song just came on the radio. Those are moods. They come and go. But an attitude, that's a learned mental state with affective, cognitive, and behavioral components. It is a deeply established, highly resilient structure in your mind. Think of it kind of like a really complex operating system running quietly in the background of your computer. It's this intricate mechanism woven into the very fabric of how you process the entire world. It literally dictates your baseline reactions to people, to places, and to ideas before you even consciously register what it is you're looking at. Now, that one word right there, learned, is huge. Honestly, it's profound. Because it means you weren't born with your current attitudes. Your mind built them over time. Every single attitude you hold right this second was acquired. You had to learn it. For example, your preference for a specific car brand wasn't somehow coded into your DNA, right? It was built through years of watching really compelling commercials, maybe listening to your parents talk about reliability, and of course, your own personal driving experiences. Whether we're talking about your stance on a highly complex political policy or just how you feel about eating broccoli, your brain acts as a lifelong sponge. It absorbs information, it observes outcomes, and it constructs these mental states piece by piece, day by day.
Moving on to Section 2, core building blocks. Let's take a look at the three main pillars actually holding these attitudes up.
So any attitude relies on three fundamental pillars: how you feel, what you believe, and how you act. Psychologists call this the ABC model of attitudes. Let's break down this matrix using something we all know, a smartphone. First up, we have the affective component. This is all about your raw feelings and emotions. It's that sheer joy, excitement, or comfort you feel when you hold a shiny brand new smartphone. Second is the cognitive component. This represents your beliefs, your facts, your thoughts. This is your logical brain stepping in and stating, okay, I believe smartphones are highly useful tools for communication, getting work done, and staying safe. And finally, we have the behavioral component, which is how those feelings and beliefs translate into actual real-world action. Because you feel good about it and you genuinely believe it's useful, you take the action of actually going to the store and buying the device. To really cement this in your mind, consider the exact opposite. Imagine a severe fear of public speaking. Your affective component, it feels paralyzing fear. Your cognitive component genuinely believes without a doubt that you're going to completely embarrass yourself and forget every single word. So consequently, your behavioral component kicks in and has you calling in sick or hiding in the absolute back of the room just to avoid that stage at all costs. An attitude requires all three of these columns, affective, cognitive, and behavioral, working perfectly in tandem to stand strong.
Section 3, How Attitudes Form. Time to meet the mental contractors, so to speak.
If attitudes are learned structures, we have to ask who or what is actually teaching us. Well, these four key sources are constantly shaping your mental architecture. First up, direct experience. This is intensely visceral. If you eat at a new restaurant and get terrible food poisoning, you really don't need to read a Yelp review to form a negative attitude about that place, do you? Your body and mind instantly build a structural aversion to it. Second is conditioning, which happens far more subtly. It works a bit like Pavlov's dogs. You're continuously rewarded with social praise for holding a certain view, or maybe punished with rejection for holding another. Over time, your attitude naturally shifts to align with wherever the reward is. Third, we have our peers. We are deeply, deeply social creatures, and the people around us basically create an echo chamber. Adopting the attitudes of your friends, your family, and your colleagues often ensures you remain a safe, accepted part of the tribe. And finally, media. The articles you read, the algorithms meticulously feeding you videos, the endless daily news cycle, all of these are pouring the concrete and hammering the nails to form your attitudes every single day, and often without you even realizing the construction is taking place.
Section 4. The function of attitudes. Basically, why do we even bother building these things?
Before we list their actual utility, we really have to ask a fundamental question. Building and storing all of these highly complex affective, cognitive, and behavioral components requires some serious cognitive resources. Your brain uses a massive amount of energy every single day just to maintain itself. So, what exactly is the return on investment here? Why do we even bother holding on to these attitudes? Well, we hold on to them because they serve 4 absolutely vital psychological functions: adjustment, ego defense, value expression, and knowledge. First up is adjustment. Having prepackaged attitudes helps us navigate social groups and fit in easily. If you start a new job at a company that highly values sustainability, quickly adopting a positive attitude toward recycling helps you adjust to that new environment and maximize your social rewards. Second is ego defense. We've all seen this one. Often, if someone gets rejected from a prestigious job or university, they'll suddenly form an attitude that the institution is actually toxic or overly elitist. Now, they don't build this attitude based on objective facts. They do it entirely to protect their own self-esteem from the painful sting of that rejection. Third is value expression. Our attitudes essentially act like a personal billboard. When you wear a specific band's t-shirt or you slap a political bumper sticker on your car, you are using an attitude to clearly communicate your core identity and what you stand for to the outside world. And the fourth function is knowledge. Let's face it, the world is incredibly chaotic and completely overwhelming. We are bombarded by thousands of stimuli every single hour. Attitudes give us a necessary heuristic, a mental shortcut. If you have a firmly established attitude that stray dogs are dangerous, you don't have to stop and painstakingly analyze the situation when one runs toward you on the street. Your brain processes that chaotic information instantly, allowing you to react quickly and stay safe.
And finally, Section 5. The Cognitive Dissonance Trap. This is where things get really interesting.
Now, we have to examine what happens when the structural integrity of our minds is pushed completely out of alignment. Leon Festinger's theory of cognitive dissonance perfectly explains that immense, nagging discomfort we feel when our blueprint doesn't match our final actions. Festinger observed that human beings have this deep, fundamental drive for internal consistency. When our attitudes, what we genuinely feel and believe, clash with our actual behavior, it creates a psychological tension so severe that it literally feels physically uncomfortable in your mind. It's this profound feeling of hypocrisy that human beings are fundamentally wired to absolutely despise. Your brain realizes the structure is unsound, the alarm bells start ringing, and you are gripped by a really powerful urge to fix the discrepancy by any means necessary.
When your attitude contradicts your behavior, the resulting friction literally forces you to change one of them just to keep your mental house from collapsing. You absolutely cannot comfortably live in the space between the two. Think about it like this. Imagine you hold a strong, defining attitude that environmental conservation is deeply important. Okay, that is your belief. But then, your daily behavior is that you're constantly buying single-use plastic water bottles and you literally never bother to recycle them. The friction between your self-image as a good environmentalist and your actual wasteful behavior creates massive cognitive dissonance. To relieve that agonizing psychological stress, you really only have 2 escape routes. You either have to change your behavior to match your attitude, which means actually making the effort to buy a reusable water bottle and sort your trash, or, and honestly, this is what our brains often do because it requires way less physical effort, you alter your attitude. You subtly start convincing yourself that, hey, recycling is kind of a scam anyway, or, look, 1 plastic bottle doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, just to make that guilt go away. Your brain will literally reshape its own foundational beliefs just to alleviate the tension. Wild, right?
As we wrap up today's explainer, I've got a bit of a hard question for you to ask yourself. Which of your own behaviors is currently at war with your stated attitudes? Seriously, take a second. Think about the foundations you've built over your entire lifetime, those pillars of your feelings, your beliefs, and your actions. Look closely at how you actually live day to day. Are those pillars structurally sound and perfectly aligned? Or is there a quiet tension echoing through the halls of your mind right now, just waiting to be resolved?